this following video was originally to be about both dimensions and positive, negative beings, and which was just actually a part of it, understanding frequencies, and also mind control. But this one, I started out on the dimensions, and it just started taking up so much time. We're just going to make it about dimensions and finish it, and then do a separate one on mind control, because it's just too much for one video, and I'm trying to keep them short to make it easier to watch these things. So here's the video. It's 4:31 p.m. Sunday, December 23rd, 2018. Happy holidays for everyone. If you have religions and stuff you're in, cool. Like me, when I was younger, before I awoken and became aware of what was really going on and what's happened, I was there. I understand. Unless people are trying to beat other people up with their control issues offered by the, buried within and offered up by other religions, period. Especially when you get the real nutty zealots, the extremists. I've never had a problem with religious people, because more religious people have love in their hearts than most other groups. I'm against religions because they're all abusive. They're all about control. But I've never been against religious people unless they were just being abusive, and then I was against them for being abusive, not for being religious. Religion is a tool that they would use. I've got a couple more pictures we're going to use in the talk today. Right now I'm doing okay. I'm feeding myself the energy I need to get through this video like I always do. I'm going to talk about mind control. Who can do it, and how does it happen, and just what can it control? And yes, we're slow today. However more videos I can make to give you the information I know you need, I'll just get worse as we go along. But I've always wanted to talk with you about dimensions. Okay, first things first, the Spiritual Foundation, by the time this video, at the making of this video, the Spiritual Foundation is closed until we get through the holidays here, sometime after January. Deanna's already got it on the website. If we haven't sent you I forget what she calls them. If she hasn't sent you an invoice yet, from the time you hear this, you won't receive one. And if she hasn't sent you one as of this moment, now it's 4:34 p.m. Sunday, December 23rd, then you won't get it. You won't be sent one till after the I think it's January 2nd or 4th or something. And then that might be for a short time for spheres only. I made a video about Christmas, the truth, the simple truth of Christmas, the lies, the joy, the origin, what it's really about. Not what a religion made it about, but what's real about it. It's really cool stuff. Now that there's nothing to keep the truth from coming out, it's going to come out and it's going to stay out. Now that there's nothing to keep, now that there's nothing to force you to believe lies, you're being protected against that, and what was doing it is dead, gone, all of it, except for little stupid pieces of little spirits here and there. They'll be handled on a continuous one-by-one basis after they come out of body. The ones that are out of body, as soon as this thing's dead, this body of men's dead, and they'll all be dead. The ones that are out of body, and some of them in body. But anyway, the thing is that stuff's gone. So now you're going to be left alone to find the truth for yourself. That's another reason for the importance of this awakening. The terminology in New Age has got would have been good to use, but it was already used on purpose, and filled with all kinds of nonsense from good people with good hearts trying to come up with something that just made some kind of sense somehow. But it's this major lack of reality to it, understanding truth. Plus, a lot of people have wanted to make things about themselves, and you'll always have some of that anyway. Some people might be laughing, thinking that's what I do. No, it's not. And you don't understand yet. Love you. You don't understand because you don't want to. You want everything to be about you. I love you, but if necessary, you're leaving when it's time. That doesn't mean anyone stands up and goes against what I've been saying. They get knocked down. No, some of them are really nasty inside. Spirit that's really nasty inside is going to be taken out. Period. It's time for that stuff to go. If it won't stop, it's a big see ya. All right, so I told you about that. Deanna's made I don't know how many necklaces. I've made I don't know how many. Between the two of us, hundreds. I don't know. I made a lot of them, and then she made some. But the nylon we were using, we bought the best nylon on the planet, but still, stone beads have sharp edges. So now we've spent a lot of money on thin strands of stainless steel, very thin, small strands of stainless steel, so it'll be flexible, that are covered in a type of nylon, some type of nylon or plastic coating. And we're making them out of that, but because we had I think 5 of them break or something like that. I forgot to say that when I was talking about how many we made. It's a very small percentage. And it's like one gentleman is really, really cool. Dude, when you hear this is nothing against you whatsoever. I think it's awesome you did this. He actually took one of the necklaces and put it on his dog. Why? Because he loves his dogs and his dog, and he loves animals. This guy's got his body just emits fire engine red love, and pineal too. A bit of solar plexus also. But he wanted his dog to enjoy it, and then the dog, of course, broke it. They'll scratch themselves. It's normal. All the stuff is made as jewelry. It will break. Any jewelry will. I don't care where you get it. Drop it on the ground, stone might break. Might be a $50,000 necklace. Our necklaces are worth a lot because the quality of the stone itself, the energy that's put into it, and the amount of the different percentages of the frequencies of the different stone that are in the necklace. This is not just a bunch of stones put around your neck. This is something that takes some strong talent. And to crank it up, you have to be sore. There's some of you have cranked up real hard. Go ahead and crank up some necklaces and stuff. Put some energy in you. I won't be surprised if someone feels that energy in there. Will it stay in there? There's a chance it will. I don't know. I can't tell you right now, and it's hard enough for me to look at things and see right now. I used to get up, as some of you know, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd stay up till 10, 11 at night. I have a chair that I sleep in. It's a special chair. It's a Lazy Boy. They're top of the line. Can handle my now massive weight and body and I got a pillow where I can kick my feet up so the edema doesn't get bad, but I sleep in it because of the edema that I have from the kidneys and liver. Anyway, why I brought it up, I get up out of that thing anywhere from 11 to 1 in the from 11 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. And I'll get in there somewhere between like 6 and 8. I'm not up much at all anymore. And I have something to prop my feet up when I'm downstairs, but I just can't hang. Anyway, that's enough talking about myself. The only importance of that is I want you to understand that I am doing what I can. It's information for you. And yes, this body's dying. I just said, this last video coming out, you'll hear it. I'm aggressive about getting out of here. I'm getting so weak. I'm getting to the point where it would be hard to take myself home. I mean, it's insane. I don't want to do that. It's just, and I really don't think it'll come to that. But nothing can get into my mind on the other side or here, anywhere. Nothing can just go into my head and get my information. Nothing. Nothing ever could. Nothing ever will. That's hard to do with anyone, period. But on the other side with me, no, they can't get in there. So sometimes I have to say things verbally. And when I do, and you hear aggression, that's who I really am inside coming out of. It's like there's a big, huge, there is a dimension inside me where most of me stays. It's like a capsule, I was going to say, but it's a dimension. And part of it comes out and comes through me when it's really necessary to say something. So I did, and having done that, now my physical body deterioration is getting faster again. Good. I'll always do whatever it takes to do what I know is best for everyone. Before I was just put back down at the tablet again to look at it, it's 4:44. I think I looked at it when it was 4:41. It's hard for me to even remember anything even a couple of minutes ago. But I believe I did. It was kind of just glancing. 4:41, that means 4:41 p.m. That means, or a.m. or p.m. That's right to left. 1 is self, and then double 4 is have strong fortitude. So anyway, okay, now also the spiritual foundation. Deanna's got something she's putting on there. I'm going to go ahead and read something to you. It's a disclaimer. And it's some other information. We've had people send us some stuff, wonderful, loving people, right? But send us stuff and send money, wanting to get me and Deanna to do stuff. We're taking care of this last one, but that'll never happen again. Not for anybody. It's serious enough to where I'm putting it on the website. And I want to say this. You know I love you in my heart. But to put that on me, when you can tell I'm dying, and I really want to be left alone, and I'm scrambling to do what I can for everyone before I die, and then you drop a load on me, wanting a back history of everything I have, which I don't even have it anymore. My backup on the first videos is gone. My personal logs back then, a long time ago, I said that I go ahead and sell some of the personal logs, but I decided, I really didn't kind of want to do it. And next thing I knew, I went to my hard drives, and they were all none of them were valid anymore. They were all, fragmented, whatever, that destroyed, couldn't fix it. I've got some serious software. I've got some serious hardware. Okay. I believe in when doing something, get the best you can and do everything you can with it. But the thing is gone. And giving money, offering money to do it, it's like if somebody wants something, it's going to have to come by invoice. But don't ask me for nothing, folks. I'm almost dead and I want to be left alone. So because of that, because of this happening, Deanna and I went ahead and made a new stipulation, whatever, for the company, and it'll be widely posted. And again, the people that had said this, hey, I love them, man, care about them. I have taken good care of them, and I will, but that's assumption, which is really close to something else, and we'll leave that alone. But anyway, Spiritual Foundation products, use and hazard disclaimer. All jewelry is a safety and choking hazard to children. Now, these necklaces I told you about, that, nylon coated stainless steel strands, that could choke you. That could kill you. There's a possibility. There's a remote possibility that it could actually choke you. We don't know. It might come apart in time. That was the beauty of the nylon. Deanna just didn't like the fact that it broke. Not often, but it's made 200 necklaces, which I think we made more. But anyway, if it was only 200 necklaces and 5 went bad, that's 2.5%. And this one that just got sent to us, that was like 4 years old or something, 3-4 years old, I don't know. People, it's jewelry. The stone is the important part. It has a life, not a shelf life, but eventually it will break, like so many other things. You can buy a $200,000 car and it's gonna break sooner or later. Children should always be closely supervised if they wear or play with any of our accessories. These are not intended for children or pets. Our necklaces are now assembled with nylon-coated steel cable and are now a potential choking hazard for anyone wearing one. Use responsibly. Okay. The Spiritual Foundation is now responsible for the misuse of any of our products. And some of these stones, you got to watch it because kids, it's wonderful for the kids to play with stones, but please, man, just really keep an eye on them when they play with it, While the utmost care is taken to ensure that our products remain strong and durable, there is the potential for breakage if care, gentleness with our products is not exercised. Again, our products contain small parts which, could be a choking hazard. By purchasing from the Spiritual Foundation, you acknowledge full responsibility. The Spiritual Foundation assumes no liability for injury, medical issues, or any harm, including death, resulting from product misuse or use of the product whatsoever. Despite every effort to accurately represent each product's color and texture, variance may occur due to a stone's individuality, differences in computer monitor / mobile device settings and lighting. And this is the last one that I sent. And this seems more aggressive than it is, than it's really meant to be. But I feel very strong about it. Anything sent to the Spiritual Foundation, okay, through the spiritualfoundation.com to the Spiritual Foundation to this address, without prior written approval of the spiritualfoundation.com or the Spiritual Foundation, will be considered a gift to us. We will not return anything sent to us that we haven't previously approved, again, in writing. Now, that doesn't mean anyone that sent anything to us, we're keeping it. No. What it does mean is from this day forward, if you send something to us and you don't have the approval, the heads up, then apparently it's a gift. But if not, we're not going to store it here. We're not going to pay to ship it back to you. We can't just let something sit on the, in the front of the shop either. So if you send something to us without us giving you the approval, we're expecting it to be a gift. But anything you send, no matter what email you send after it, unless we've given you the approval, we're not doing nothing with it. We'll use it, give it away, whatever we want. Okay? So this has happened a few times before, and it ain't going to happen again. I've done what I can to help a lot of people, and it's important, and all of you are important, very important. But man, really? I'm dying and you're dumping crap on my lap? Anyway. Money got sent with it. It's just, and a lot of money, but it's just, no. No one tells me what to do. I serve everyone. I don't work for anyone. And when someone doesn't have respect for someone who's dying, they can get screwed. Okay, let me get out of that now. Okay, I still love these people very much. They're awesome, and they're very important to what's coming. All right, let's get rid of that. Now, do need to talk about dimensions, mind control. Let's get dimensions out of the way first. Trying to save the battery usage on this thing before I turned it off. Anyway, okay, mind control. Who can do it? Who can't? People used to write in all the time, I heard this about this and this. Look at this video and this guy says this and what's this? It's like the whole idea was for the other side to go into people and have them keep me busy researching stuff instead of relaxing and just going to go find out for myself. So I stopped that, too, a long time ago. Again, perfectly innocent thing. I'm not picking on anyone. I'm just making some points. So anyway, oh, crap. All right. Okay, dimensions. People are always trying to understand what dimensions are. There's nothing written on it. We don't have any science on it. When our ET families, friends come in, family members come in, they can offer some science to what's going on, but they can read some frequencies and stuff, but the fact of the matter is dimensions are metaphysical. None of us have strong access to who we are, what we've done in different lives and stuff like that. The human mind, when we're in a body, there's only the smallest piece of us that's put into a body, and our energy, our abilities are just so toned down. Again, your spirit, sentient energy, not even gas, you're not even that heavy. Super light, high vibration. You go into a body, it's like taking a, it's like we're walking, like we're ourselves is in spirit inside a body, but it's like we're inside a tar pit. Again, with a tuning fork, this isn't one, but a real tuning fork made of solid metal. You go somewhere, you tap it, boom, and you listen to it, and it's got a beautiful tone. You tap it again, you hear it, you stick it into a jar full of some thick oil or axle grease, and when you tap it the first time, it'll be nice, and then you put it in axle grease, it goes, it gets rid of it. It slows it down to a lower frequency. Now, we talk about negativity, high vibration, that kind of thing. What's going on with that is energy. We call someone negative when they have a good percentage of frequencies that are like this, lower frequencies. The only way I know to try to present this information to you is through using an analog like sine signal. So it's a wave. Sine, cosine, tangent, blah, blah, blah. A little bit of my math background from 5 million years ago, I guess. It's in this body. I'm just saying it's a long time ago. These are lower. They tend to be a little bit stronger. Okay, as you go up, away from yourself, the frequency away from that going up in frequencies, they get higher vibration, which means there's more waves in a given space, of a length of distance on a chart, but actually in a certain amount of time. If this was a from here to there was a 3-second interval, you take a third of it, whatever third is, more down, I guess I can't see through the video monitor well at all, but if you take a third of that and make it a second, then that's the amount of frequencies of the frequency, the rate of the frequency would be distinguished by the amount of times the wave goes up and down within that span of time, or like I said on the chart distance. It's the higher up you go, the higher the frequency. Now, this numerology, this number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 going up there, that works wonderful when you're talking about the amount of wavelengths within a certain time span. Okay? When you're talking about dimensions, the first one is extremely high vibration, but it's smooth. It's almost like there's nothing there. That's the first dimension. And then you go down you get the second dimension. And then you go down again, you get the third dimension. The first dimension is where the new first beings used to be created. That area's been pretty much frozen. The people who are living there or stuck there, what are living there, both, they're fine, they're free to move around, but their environment is no longer active enough to be able to create new first beings. Our creation is a mess. It's about to get fixed. We have 4 new ones that are going to start. Not until they go into the energy bodies. So, if you think of 6 as a high number, because it's the amount of because it has a higher, say it has 6, waves with just in an inch on a chart. The next one 5, 4. The higher frequency has the higher amount of waves in that time slot. Now, when you get down to the lower number, closer to 0, it never goes negative. No one can actually, they can act in a negative manner, a negative aggressive against, not for. But as far as the negative wavelength, energy itself, the lowest it can be is 0. But if it exists, it can't quite be 0 anyway. So there has to be a little bit of movement. But when it comes to dimensions, the first dimension is unique. Okay, there's like almost nothing, and then a little something in there. That's unique. That's something different. The second dimension is a higher wavelength. For a minute, forget here. We just explained negativity, right? So now, you don't need these numbers anymore. The first vibration is something unique, could be up here. The second vibration was created. The second dimension was created from a singular, inside a singular frequency. And then the third dimension was created inside the next lower frequency. And then the one right below us, here on the Earth, which would be the fourth dimension, where most of the Fae run around, that's really a softer extension of this. Okay, there's no barrier. And then we have other barriers. We have other dimensions here around this planet, but there's only 3 basic dimensions. Something else I wanted to sneak in here before I forgot was how the dimensions were created. In relation to that, I gave you some pieces here and there, but I didn't put it all together for you. If you go to the center of where this creation began, you will be in the center of the first dimension. And from the first dimension, you go outwards. And then the second dimension was created outside of it. The barrier wall was made around the first dimension, and then another frequency was opened up for the second dimension. Another barrier wall, and then the third dimension with the barrier wall. The rest of them was made by primary. The rest of them were made by primary error, period. But the first 2 were made by the original first being male. So, and then there's 1 here, then there's 2, there's 3. It's literally like going inside an onion and extending outward. So if someone's talking about a dimension above their head being a higher number, they're really confused. And besides, people can't see this stuff yet. They will soon. It's not much longer now, but our ET family members are going to add a whole lot of science to what I'm telling you about, so you'll know for yourself what's going on. But in the meantime, think what you will, do what you want. But that's how it started, and that's how the dimensions are layered and how they're numbered. It started with number one, the original one, and then as you move outward, it totally surrounds the second one. But these are you're taking part of one frequency in one place. So you can build them inside others. You can build dimensions inside others. You can have them lap. The only difficult part there is who's building the dimensional wall. And that's not is the dimensional wall. And there's only one person that does that, and that's not a problem. So that's also why you only have three main dimensions. Again, the first, no one ever goes in. It's off limits. Nobody can get to it if they want to. Other than primary protector, that's it, primary Arae. But the second and third, the first is there, the second and third. The second is where we live when we're not, when we're a normal cells, not in the body. And then a third is our physical realm that we have lives in. And then in different areas, around different planets and different sections, we have other dimensions built. So some areas it goes down to like 36, 37, 42. It's different, but there's only three main dimensions. And the ones that go lower, they're softer, slower frequency, and so they literally have a higher number going down. So, the thing is, to create a dimension, you take a frequency. And you think of it as a line like this, and you literally go in and open it up. And then when you do that, all the other frequencies that were around it bend around it. And then you do some other work to create the barrier, and I'm not going there. That keeps you from going in between barriers. Now, there are ways for craft to fly in between barriers. There's ways to move through them. It's difficult. It is not easy. The Draconantids know the most about it, but it's not an easy thing for the mass populace to do. Remember, a lot of these races out there are very old. Anyway, so you start, once you do that for this one area, then you can take another dimension, open it up and overlap it, and what you wind up doing is you have a dimension here, and then there's one just to the side, and then just the side, and just the side, and that's how they extend outward. I should try to give you a better description of that, but for all the wonderful things that Deanna can do, she's no expert with the Photoshop and stuff, and people, we don't need anyone to get a hold of us to help us with this. I want to give you basic information. It's not that much longer to where you're going to get a more physical description of dimensions, like I said, from our friends from other planets. The oldest races can go through there. The oldest. So, excuse me. But that's basically what happens. You take the frequency and you open it up. Okay, you literally split it, and then there's a wall. There's a cut through it. There's an open area, and that's what the wall is made from. But there's also some soft amounts of that frequency going through it. When you go from this third dimension up to the second, when you go from the third dimension up to the second, it's a slightly higher vibration. It's a slightly higher frequency. Now, you can create these dimensions from the bottom going up, larger out to the side. There's all kinds of ways to do this, and that's the problem, to try and show that exactly. But the way dimensions go from where we are in this third dimension, the second dimension is 1.5 feet to the right, 3 foot up, and just northeast. That's right where it is. Okay, that if you were standing in the second dimension instead of this third dimension, if you went up the second dimension, that's where it is. For years, you've heard of quote-unquote psychics talking about seeing your angels and spirit guides floating in the air 3 foot above you, behind you. Oh, that's basically what the ground floor is for the other side, the second dimension. And the second dimension has some heavy particulate matter moving through it, and that's where we live as spirit. There's no temples, there's no physical stuff like that. What for? No one has a body. Why do you need a bench if you'll never use it? A chair if you'll never use it? So anyway, the main thing is that I want to show you, it's by opening frequencies and then building walls inside there that you actually create a dimension. You can take a group of them and do it. Okay? But that's how it happens, and that's why they have higher vibrations. One one dimension would be a slightly higher vibration. Now the Fae live in the fourth dimension. That's to the left, down and to the left, and just barely behind us. That's the way it's made. If you look at the size, you can make them start with the outer ones and make smaller ones inside. You can make them on the inside. You can make dimensions and take frequencies that are higher, lower, any way you want to go and make dimensions. There were 7 dimensions on this planet, which that's something Sylvia Browne had mentioned. Sylvia Browne could see things pretty good for herself, but she talked with her spirit guide, Aina. She called her Francine, but her name was Aina. She talked with her about Aina talked with Sylvia about all kinds of stuff, and she's got a lot of important stuff that's right in the books, and by that I mean some very basic things. When Sylvia, and I'm not beating up Sylvia Browne, love her, man, she's awesome. Man, she goes after knowledge like a fish after water. I mean, she loves that stuff. So and she was run. She was run by some of the original first angels. So it's, we've all done stuff that's, excuse me, kind of dumb, and that's coming up in the mind control video, which is next. Anyway, so when people tell you they're going to a higher vibration, 5th dimension, I'm not beating them up, but they have no idea what they're talking about. They're just unaware. I'm ignorant to plenty of stuff. You'll never see me build a rocket ship. The more metaphysically powerful and able I became, the more my conscious mind went away. But then again, I've been fighting. My energy is really strong, and I've been fighting for all my lives. But I mean, since 2000 and I've been fighting kind of hard since 2009. It was war. In 2009, it got serious. It started getting, fighting back and forth. And come 2010, the war was on between me and the original first being male and female. So don't expect yourself to get dumb when you wake up, but your abilities change a little bit. How can someone say you're dumb when you can see things that nobody knew? Tell people stuff about their lives that there's no way you could have known? Every consultation I've ever done was what you would call what people call a cold reading. Every single one. When I look things up, I look in my head. As those of you start doing this, you're going to find out other people saying, hey, there's no way they can do that. There's no way you can do that because I can't. I'm like, wow, really? Are you this God thing? Didn't you know God's dead? The original first being male and female, they're gone. They don't understand and usually don't want to. Some of them later on do. Awesome. When you have a change as big as what's going on, it rattles some people. Isn't that natural? Isn't that something you might kind of expect from most people? So down in the on the dimension below us, it's actually like about 2.5 feet. It's not 3.5 feet up. It's about 2.5, 2.25 feet, 2.5 foot down, and behind us to the southwest. That's begins the realm of faith. And I said there were 7 dimensions, and then when the original first being male and female were destroyed, they had built a new dimension all their own, and that's now the 8th dimension that goes around this planet. There's only 3 major dimensions. There's the first, the original, where new life gets created in a small section of it, and then there's the 2nd dimension, which is where we all live when we're not in a body. And then as our normal state. And then there's this 3rd dimension, the physical dimension that we live in. Now the 4th dimension, that's just below us. They have their like ground and area and everything too, but it's different than what we have, and because there's no barrier, they come up in ours all the time. They literally float through the ground just like nothing. So they often feed on dead fruit or fruit that's fallen, plants, but they take almost no energy from them. So, and these are relative to the new bodies we're going to have in about 2,000 years. Okay, so there's people talk about the paradigm shift and all this other stuff. There's nothing like that happening. There's a format shift where people are going to have more compassion, but if you could see frequencies and understand them, you have to see them first, or feel them, or know they're there. See them in your mind, see them in your heart. Know with your gut that something's real. Then you can start to understand more about them. Damn it. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to tell you about that. I remember a little bit about making dimensions, dimensional barriers. The 1st dimension made itself. The 2nd and 3rd dimensions were made by the original first being male and female. They also made the 8th dimension that was put around us. And after that happened, by the way, I went down and pulled in 2 of the barriers. So I actually removed them. So where there was 8, we have 2 less now. And there's nothing in that 8th dimension, and the 7th dimension is pretty much a waste bucket, waste pail, waste paper basket. Thought processes that don't fit, things that people can actually create with their own mind. That's where stuff like that hangs out. In that what used to be that 7th dimension down there, that's literally, they have a being that was created through thought, and his name is Freddy Krueger. Can he come up here? No. No way. Sorry, it doesn't happen. It's impossible. It can't get through the barriers, and it's taken care of down there. The 7th dimension, what's the 7th dimension? It's going to be wiped. I tell you that. It'll be empty very soon. But there's never anything to fear from stuff like that. It can't get up here. Nothing can get through one barrier unless it's allowed to, and nothing can take it from one to the other unless it's really, really, really powerful source, period. So it has to be at least as strong as the original first being, male and female. No, actually that wouldn't, well, yeah, I guess if something was that strong, they might be able to, but it still wouldn't be allowed. The fullness of what I am, primary Arae, has made those dimensions. Everything but the 2nd and 3rd dimension. In the 1st dimension, like I said, it was always there. So, get my little supposed arrogant quip in. Closer I am to getting out of this body, the less I care. The less careful I am about what I say for people to believe or not. I've always said things like they are. I'm just opening up a little more right now, seeing how I'm done. So anyway, that's what it is with dimensions. That's where we're at. You've heard so many people through the years and years talk about that. They saw a silver cord coming from their body. It went inside their body, and it came out, and it goes up like this to the right. It went about 2.5 feet up to the right. They all say the same thing. Well, there's got to be a reason for that, right? That's not where I came up with this, okay? I see it. I know what's going on. When you see everyone, talk to everyone, you can get in their heads anytime you want, whether they're in the body or not. You just understand things. It's easier to understand what's going on, but all of you that want to and that are clean, you're getting stronger. You can be cleaned really strong and you don't want to get stronger or activate yourself. Well, you're still there. You still have your abilities. They're just not, if you don't use them, you can't bring them to life and then hone them. Make them sharp. The thing is learning to trust yourself. That's first to do it, especially pineal. How do you see where you pineal? How do you twist your eyebrows? No, you just go. You just do it because you can, because it's natural. Your pineal gland was made in your body so you could see multidimensionally. So you just do, and then you see something, you say, well, that can't be right. That's the first thing everyone says. That can't be right. Why? Why? Because you're not supposed to be able to do this? Because you haven't been doing it because you were told it was impossible? Or you would be evil if you could? If you're hearing voices, like your spirit guide's talking to you, if you're hearing voices, don't talk to them, don't listen. Some people do have some mental issues, but most people who are hearing voices are talking with the spirit guides. There's a lot of people who have chemical imbalances in their brain that cause a lot of problems. I mean, not a lot, but I mean, they're out there, and that's sad. That never should have happened to them. Trying to think of what I'm forgetting. But anyway, there's no creation of a new dimension where the earth shakes and it's in another dimension and all this other stuff, folks. It doesn't happen. It's never happened, never will. It doesn't happen like that. And what I was saying too earlier, if you do the math, I don't know what it is exactly because I haven't done it, but I already understand this. Go a foot and a half to your right, make it a, what is it, an isosceles triangle or something. I don't know. You go about 2.5 feet, about 2.5 feet, up at an angle like this, and then you make the rest of the triangle a foot and a half over here, 3 foot up, and then how much is that long edge of the triangle? It's up to 2 feet something, 2.5 feet or something. I don't know. And people have been seeing it for years. Well, that's part of your energy that's got you attached to, depending on who you are. Either way, no matter what, you're going to have source attaching you through the field. Source energy attaching you to the other side. So there are some people that are source and they attach themselves to the other side. They don't need the field to do it, but everything happens through the field anyway. And don't worry what other people can see that you can't. When you see something and someone else goes to look at the same thing, you see something different, either it was important for both of you to see different pieces of the same part, or also when you see something, especially when you look at spirit, it's energy. It doesn't have a body. It might talk to you and give you a body in your brain, to ear, mantid. Neantid. A lot of people think of him like a mantid, but he's not actually. He's a nantid. The hope you talk about, his race. They're the second oldest race. He can go into people's minds. You can go in 100 people's mind and project the same image and talk using sign language. Corey Brown used to talk about that, the blue avian. And the blue avian couldn't talk through, vocally, but it did sign language. There's been times when Corey Good has been at some events. There's people there from different countries and everything else. You know how much power it takes to take an image, a similar image, and put it in everyone's brain while you're having a life in a physical body? It's incredibly difficult. And then you add their own language to it. Everybody hears the same language. Now you just talk sign language and you get it through. But Ta'ir would always talk with smaller groups telepathically. Same thing I did with the 7 Anunnaki clans a few years ago. I was talking with a lot of people at one time, and I'd never done it. Well, I'd had some practice doing it, like 2-3 days beforehand, just one time. So the parts of me came at me and made me have conversations with 3 different groups, just so I'd be able to do it. Anyway, so the dimensions, that's what they are. That's the basic fundamentals of how you make one. The barrier between the second and third dimension from us here and the other side, that's going to be rebuilt soon. It's going to be changed. It's going to be easier for us to see the other side. I've mentioned that in a couple other videos. You'll be made stronger. All you have to do is use what you've received. So going above your head, forward, there's the third, second, and first dimension. No one can get in the first, period. No one. There's stuff in there. There's those 4 new first beings. All parts of them are up there. Second dimension is where we live when we're not in the body, our normal selves. And then we have the third dimension here that's physical. In different areas, you have more dimensions in that one section where those frequencies are separated. So, that's the best I could do explaining that. But you have the basis of the information, and there'll be more coming. All right, folks, take care. Love you, and I hope you have happy holidays.